Welcome, my friends in the Force. It is finally here. The full season review of Darth Maul, the Shadow Lord. I hope you all had a fantastic May the 4th. Now that season 1 has fully ended and fans have had the opportunity to watch this epic masterpiece of a show, I wanted to give my full review of not just episodes 9 and 10, but of the entire show itself. In this video, you will learn what I liked and what I didn't like about this show, including my entire rating at the end. Stay tuned for more videos coming out about Darth Maul, the Shadow Lord, including predictions and what-if theories. If you haven't watched the show, then here is your spoiler warning right here. Now let's get into it. Overall narrative and storyline. The overall story takes place on a planet called Janix, a world that hasn't been fallen under Empire control yet. At the center of the story, Captain Lawson, the lead detective, trying to keep order while dealing with these rising criminal warlords. Because of Imperial protocol, if things spiral out of control, the Empire will step in, and Lawson knows exactly what that means. The moment that the Empire arrives, any sense of independence is gone and chaos quickly follows, leading him to lose control of the city he's trying to protect. Meanwhile, Darth Maul operates in the shadows, using his instability to his advantage as he begins his path of revenge against the criminal leaders who betrayed him. One of the main targets is the Pike Syndicate, which ties back to the aftermath of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, where Maul sought for their help only to be turned on when he needed them the most. At the same time, two surviving Jedi, Devin and her master Daki, have taken refuge on Janix following the fall of the Jedi Order. Daki represents the old ways of the Jedi Order, disciplined, cautious, and committed to their code. Devin, however, already beginning to question everything. She struggles with the reality that the very people the Jedi once protected are now the reasons she's forced into hiding. The internal conflict is exactly what Maul senses. He realizes Devin's potential and begins slowly manipulating her, planting the seeds of doubt and anger into her mind. Some of the strongest moments in the season come with their interactions, as Maul slowly pushes her towards the dark side, convincing her that he is not the true enemy and that the real threat is still coming. And when the Empire finally arrives, Maul believes that she will have no choice but to see things his point of view. Maul's character development. Maul's character development, and especially his scenes with Devin, were easily some of the highlights of the entire show. Watching Maul slowly manipulate Devin and pushing her deeper into her hatred and anger towards the people who betrayed her was so fascinating. This is the Maul we love to watch. He's patient, calculated, and always seems to be playing both sides. In Season 2, I really hope we get to dive deeper into Sith philosophy and how the dark side corrupts and reshapes people over time. Even Sam Witwer perfectly summed up Maul's mindset in this series. He explained that Maul still hates the Jedi and still wants revenge on Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he hates Palpatine and the Empire even more. And that motivation comes through so clearly in the show. Throughout the season, we begin to understand Maul's real intention with Devin, her as a future ally that one day they can challenge Sidious together. And since Devin is nowhere to be found in Star Wars Rebels, I have a theory about what might happen to her in Season 2 that would line up to what we see later in the Solo: A Star Wars Story and the Rebels TV show. My only real issue with Maul in the show comes from his duels with the Inquisitors. Even with a damaged leg on the bridge, it just doesn't fully make sense that he wasn't able to at least defeat one of them, as his Force abilities are far greater than both of theirs combined. We have to remember, the Sith used pain to feel their connection to the dark side. If anything, Maul's fighting injuries should have made him even more dangerous. The Empire and the Inquisitors. When the Empire finally discovers Maul's location, we finally get to see how terrifying the Empire quickly takes over an entire city. This era is right in the transition period between clone troopers and the stormtroopers we see in the original trilogy. This show introduces TK troopers, essentially the bridge between clone troopers and stormtroopers, and watching them lock down the city and begin hunting Maul was honestly really cool. And with this still being clone troopers, they are still operating off of Order 66. So they know of any Jedi or any Sith or any Force users that they are an enemy now of the Republic. My only issue with the Empire comes later on in this series when Darth Vader finally arrives. The TK troopers accompanying him are implied to be part of the 501st Legion or Vader's Fist, which are supposed to be some of the most elite soldiers in the entire Empire. Yet they get outsmarted and beaten by Lawson and his group pretty quickly. The moment made the Empire feel a little less intimidating than it probably should have been, with all the experience and the reputation the 501st Legion has brought about. Now we must talk about these Inquisitors. The two Inquisitors that were sent to hunt down Maul was none other than the first brother, Marok, and the 11th brother, slowly piecing together clues about his location. Something I really enjoyed was the Inquisitors' investigation skills, how they interrogate and torture people to figure out what information they truly need. Marok especially stands out because he uses psychometry, a force ability that allows him to read into the history of objects and sense events that happened around them. We see this force ability in many other force users like Quinlan Voss, Cal Kestis in the games, and Ahsoka later on in Season 1. These two Inquisitors are portrayed as highly trained under Vader and some of the best Inquisitors he has ever trained. But this is where my biggest power scaling issue with the show comes in. Even with Maul's damaged leg, Maul should have realistically been able to defeat at least one of them on the bridge, because in Tales of the Jedi, which takes place not so long after this period, Ahsoka Tano is able to defeat this 11th brother without even wielding a lightsaber. And you could easily argue that Maul is on a similar, or if not even higher power level than Ahsoka is at this point in the timeline. So seeing Maul not able to defeat or easily seriously injure either Inquisitor felt a little inconsistent to his Force abilities. Finale. Now, these last two episodes were nothing short of spectacular. Even with them being just 25 minutes long, they were filled with so much action and character development that it absolutely blew me away. Seeing Maul taking down the ATSC and TK troopers felt something out of a video game, which was actually a nod to Starkiller taking down the ATSC in the video game Force Awakens. There was actually a lot of Starkiller Easter eggs sprinkled in these last two episodes, which was fascinating. And I'm sure Sam Witwer had a big help in getting those scenes put into this show. This scene was super interesting to see how Daki was the first one to sense the incoming threat. As you can tell, his knowledge and experience heighten his senses. Then Maul senses it too and joins him. But the craziest part is when the Inquisitors appear as they come running in at full speed, and this is actually a Force ability that we see Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan use in The Phantom Menace. This is an elite ability in the Force, but it does exhaust the Force user very quickly. Then in the middle of the duel, we get one of the coolest shots of the whole show of Devin, Daki, and Maul all working together to block the two Inquisitor strikes. And we can't forget the epic sacrifice Maul's Zabrak brother did, taking out those 3 TK troopers all at once. What a hero. And after all that, They all think that they are finally safe from the threat of the Empire until the big reveal. Darth Vader coming in at the end of episode 9 was an amazing surprise. Just let alone hearing his breathing brought a smile to my face as he appeared from the fog, taking on Maul, Docky, and Devon. His movements are so robotic, quickly damaging Maul's leg even worse than it was before. Maul soon realizes that Darth Vader is no mere inquisitor, quickly getting taken down after so many powerful strikes from Vader. Docky tells Maul that he has never faced someone this strong in the dark side, as Docky explains that this must be the Dark Lord of the Sith. Maul has now realized that Anakin did not die at the end of Clone Wars, but he has now become his former master's new apprentice. Everything he was trying to avoid when conquering Mandalore, all to realize now that his former master's plan was a success. Maul, realizing who Vader is, tries telling Docky and Devon that we must change our fighting style. He knows how to fight against Jedi because he was once one himself. We must adapt and use hatred against him. That is the only way we are going to survive this. Docky, quickly realizing that this is going against everything he has trained as a Jedi Master. Now we get to the epic bridge scene where Devon, all alone, takes on the two Inquisitors while Vader closes in on the other side, sandwiching Darth Maul and the two Jedi between him and the Inquisitors. And then we get some of the best choreographed moments in the entire show as they all fight for survival. Vader had to learn all 7 lightsaber forms all over again whenever he lost his duel to Obi-Wan on Mustafar. So, when you are fighting with Vader, it feels like trying to fight a machine who makes the exact right movements at every single angle, wearing down the opponent until nothing else they could do but accept defeat. When Devon gets separated by Docky and Darth Maul, this is when Maul sees the opportunity he's been waiting for the entire show and force pushes Docky into Darth Vader's powerful strike. Catching Docky off balance, this gives Maul the opportunity to leave the fight to go find Devon. As we see, Docky does everything he can to attack from all different angles to disorient Vader. However, when Docky gets a hit on Vader, this is when Vader strikes even harder and harder to bring Docky to his knees, just like in the future when Luke does this to Darth Vader on board the Death Star. And then Vader delivers the ultimate stab, ending Docky's life. She fuels with rage and aggression, now fully tapped into the dark side and wanting revenge on the Empire for killing her master. This is exactly what Maul was searching for, and he is willing to sacrifice everything in order to make Devon his new apprentice. For the conclusion, I cannot say enough good things about this show. And even though I wish they had changed a couple of things here and there to make it make a little bit more sense, this is still a fantastic show and one that I think every single Star Wars fan should give it a try. This is the closest thing we are getting to a George Lucas sequel trilogy, and I think that George Lucas would be very proud of Dave and his team for all the hard work they put into these characters that are so beloved by the fandom. My overall score of the entire show is a 9.5 out of 10, with these last 2 episodes easily being 10 out of 10 scores. I am very excited and can't wait for season 2, and there will be more videos coming out about why did Darth Vader not say a single word in this series. What if Darth Vader actually captured Maul and took him to the Emperor? And so many more. So stay tuned for those videos. And thank you so much if you have stayed to the end of this video. I really do appreciate it a lot. If you want to see more Darth Maul content, then click on this video right here.